All right. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining this exploration into a truly ancient and profound effective modality, the healing power of sound and music. So, my name is Suchita Pandey, and I'll be your host for today. So, I have done my education and professional diploma in clinical psychology. I'm a member of Rehabilitation Council of India, the Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists, as well as the Clinical Psychology Society of India. So currently, I'm working as a junior psychologist at MindTribe. Along with me is our co-host for today, who's Fatma. Fatma, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Suchita. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's workshop on the healing power of sound and music. And I'm really glad to see all of you here today. So, just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Fatma Zora, and I have completed my master's in clinical psychology. And I'm working here at MindTribe as a junior psychologist. Other than that, I usually work with concerns related to relationships, stress, anxiety, and depression. And yeah, I'm also your co host for today's session. So if at any point you have a question or anything you want to check in about, you can just drop it in the chat box and I will be there to help. So now, before we begin, I will quickly take you through the disclaimer. Yeah, so recording, transcribing, or capturing any part of this workshop is strictly prohibited. This includes the use of transcription tools, screen recording, screenshots, or any other form of documentation. And the content shared in this session is the intellectual property of MindTribe. So unauthorized recording, reproduction, or distribution is not allowed. And please note that violation of this policy may result in removal from the session to protect the confidentiality of the group. And now let's go over a few ground rules to make a safe and supportive environment for everyone during the workshop. So first of all, let's make sure that this is a safe space where everyone feels comfortable to share. Second, please respect each other's unique journeys and experiences. Third, try to listen with intention and be present for others. And finally, if at any point you don't feel ready to speak, feel free to pass, and there is absolutely no pressure. So yeah, with that, I will hand it back to Suchita to take us forward. So over to you, Suchita.
Thank you, Fatma. All right, so now that we're done with the disclaimer and ground rules, let us start with the purpose of the workshop. So, the purpose of the workshop is to understand how sound and music influence emotions, physiology, and healing, to develop mindful body based and visual ways to connect with sound, and to learn to use silence, rhythm, and vibration awareness for self regulation. So, before we start, let's do an icebreaker activity. So, you all can type in the chat box. If your current mood would it feel like a buzz, a hum, a wave, or a silence? You can use the chat box to type. So Sneha says buzz. Sweta says wave. Sri Lakshmi says wave. Preeti says hum. All right. So, like we can see, we all have our own representations of sound and how it represents our current mood. All right. So, let's begin with the workshop. So, like we all know, music is medicine. But what does that really mean? When we talk about healing with music, we are referring to the intentional use of music, whether listening, singing, or playing, to address our goals across our entire well being. So, music has its effect on all dimensions of our life, whether it be emotional, physical, social, or cognitive. So let us start with the emotional aspect of healing with music. So we all know music is a powerful mood regulator. Think about putting on a calming piece of music when you're stressed. The rhythmic consistency can slow your heart rate and shift you out of anxiety. Conversely, a high energy track can help lift depression and boost motivation. More profoundly, music is an unparalleled tool for emotional expression and release. Sometimes words fail us. So, a teenager might not be able to articulate their anger, but they can channel it into drumming. An older adult grappling with grief might find a safe space for tears through a meaningful melody. It acts as a vessel for feelings we can't otherwise access or share. So, it's a language for the soul. Similarly, music's impact isn't just in your head, it's deeply physical as well. So let's talk about stress. Calming music directly engages with our parasympathetic nervous system and our body's rest and digest mode. So this significantly lowers levels of the stress hormone cortisol, which is linked to everything from poor sleep to weakened immunity. So it helps to reduce stress. Secondly, pain management. By capturing our attention, music acts as a powerful form of distraction, making the perception of a chronic or acute pain less intense. So it can even release endorphins, the body's natural painkillers. Finally, physical rehabilitation. Rhythmic music is used extensively in injury recovery and in cases of stroke. The brain's innate ability to process rhythm can help patients relearn walking patterns and speech articulation and fine motor skills through a phenomenon called entrainment, the body's naturally locking into the musical beat. So, on the cognitive side, music is a powerful stimulus for the entire brain. It helps us focus and be attentive, especially in those with conditions like ADHD or other developmental challenges. It acts as a profound trigger for memory. So, for patients with Alzheimer's or dementia, hearing a favorite song can often unlock memories and spark conversations. On the social side, music is a universal connector. So, group singing, drumming circles, or even just listening to an album together fosters a sense of belonging and community. So, this is vital for mental health, helping to reduce feelings of isolation. So, music provides a non threatening platform for communication and building therapeutic relationships. So next, let us understand the signs you can feel. So how does sound affects us instantly? So think about a sudden loud clap or even a jarring sound of a car horn. What happens? You jump, your heart pounds. You don't have to think about it. It's an automatic primal reaction. Why is this so immediate? Because the auditory pathway is the fastest sensory pathway to the brain. So what happens inside you is that sound waves hit your eardrum and are converted to electrical signals and rush to the brainstem. Importantly, one of your first stops is the amygdala, that is your brain's emotional center, responsible for your fight or flight response. So this makes hearing your primary warning sense. So our ancestors relied on instant reaction to survive a predator's sound. Today, it means a jarring noise spikes your cortisol and puts your body into a state of tension before your conscious mind can even register the source. So, what's happening in that instant that creates a feeling of either calm or chaos? So when we hear a sound, a sharp sound, let's say, they signal danger to the amygdala, keeping us alert and stressed. So conversely, when we introduce harmonious sound like a slow beat or a sustained tone, something magical happens. So what happens? Soothing sound like, especially at low frequencies, gently stimulates the vagus nerve, the main highway of the parasympathetic nervous system, that is the body's rest and digest mode. This immediately lowers our heart rate and blood pressure, counteracting that initial stress spike. Secondly, consistent rhythm and frequency, whether from a music or a sound bowl, can literally entrain your brainwaves. What that does mean? If your mind is racing in the fast paced beta state, a calming sound acts like a gentle magnet, guiding your brain down into the relaxed meditative state or the alpha state, or even the deeply restorative state, that is the theta state. So, the feeling you get, that instant sense of peace or energy, is your nervous system directly responding to the vibrational patterns it is receiving. So, now for the biggest question, can sound and music heal us? If yes, then how? So, the answer is supported by a growing body of scientific evidence. So, healing is not a one time fix, but a process of encouraging the body and mind to return to a state of balance. So, music helps us in three clinical ways. How? The first way is neuroplasticity. So, music engages nearly every part of your brain, the motor cortex, the memory centers, and the emotional centers. This intense activation stimulates your neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to create new neural pathways. For patients of stroke or trauma, music can literally help rewire the brain to compensate for damaged functions, assisting with movement and speech recovery. Secondly, listening to music releases the dopamine, which is a pleasure and reward neurotransmitter, giving you a natural high. So it also releases endorphins, which act as the body's natural painkiller, making music an effective tool for pain management. Third, music provides a safe, non-verbal container for emotional work. So it can gently unlock suppressed or stagnant emotion, often associated with the past trauma, allowing them to be felt, processed, and released without the need for language. So now that we have established how our body is vibrating and how the concept inward uh, the world of our emotions, let us explore and think about our deepest feelings. They don't exist as thoughts, they create as physical sensation and an energy within you. So, the core idea we'll explore is that every feeling has a frequency. So, when we are in a state of stress or sadness, our internal frequency is often low, dense, and perhaps chaotic. So, when we are joyful or inspired, our frequency is high, light, and harmonious. So, let's start with the brightest note. Happiness hums. So, think about the sound of joy. It's often fast, bright, and resonant. Picture children giggling or the humming you do when you're deeply content. This corresponds to a high vibrational frequency in the body. So, when you feel happiness, your brain is releasing chemicals like dopamine and endorphins. These chemicals literally speed up the signals in your nervous system, giving you that feeling of lightness, clarity, and energy. So, the physical manifestations can be seen that happiness encourages an open posture, faster movement, and often a higher vocal tone. Your energy is expansive and it creates a field of harmony that is felt by others. It is the energetic opposite of being shut down. So, when you intentionally hum or sing a cheerful tune, you are using sound to actively tune into its higher frequency and reinforce that feeling of well being. Next, let's consider the contrast. Sadness slows. So think of the sound of a deep sorrow, often a low moan or a slow weep or even silence. Sadness and grief are associated with low vibrational frequency. So this isn't a judgment, it's a statement of energy. When we are sad, the entire system slows down. Our thoughts are sluggish, our movement requires immense effort, and we feel a sense of density or heaviness. In our body, we can see it manifest as slumped shoulders, a downcast gaze, or a shallow breathing. So the body is in a state of conservation, trying to process the pain. When we listen to slow, melancholy music, it doesn't necessarily make us more sad, but it provides a harmonious, safe container for that slow energy to be expressed and moved, leading to eventual release. We meet the feeling where it is. So finally, we aim for the sweet spot that is peace flows. The frequency of peace is neither frantic nor high, and it is not slow either. So it is centered, consistent, and rhythmic. Think of the sound of a steady heartbeat or a predictable flow of a stream. Peace is the state achieved when our body system are in balance. So when you feel peaceful, your brain waves are often in the stable alpha state and your heart rate is steady. So this feeling of flow is facilitated by intentional sound like chanting or steady drumming. So, the power of consistency. Peace is a product of consistency. When sound provides a predictable, harmonious rhythm, it gives your nervous system permission to relax and release the need to be constantly on guard. So, it allows your energy to move smoothly and effortlessly. So, now we can do a little activity here. So you all can type in the chat box what's your current mood like. If you feel sad, you can type blue. If you feel happy, you can type yellow. If you are feeling peaceful, you can type purple. Or if you're feeling angry, you can type red. You can use the chat box and type. So Sneha is feeling purple. She's feeling at peace. Rupesh is feeling purple. Akshay is feeling happy. Sri Lakshmi is saying the color for anxiety, let it be red. Anvi is feeling red. All right. So next, let's explore the topic, which is memory and music. So think for a moment about a song from your past, maybe your high school dance or a song from your grandmother, which she used to sing. Now close your eyes and just recall that tune. You can take 5 seconds to allow yourself to remember that. What happened? You didn't just remember the notes, you were instantly transported. You felt the air, saw the people, and felt the exact emotion of that moment. So, that is the incredible power of the memory music connection. Music is not just sound, it is a profound and effortless form of time travel for the heart. So, it bypasses the conscious analytical mind and goes directly to the emotional and memory centers of the brain. So, why is this connection so strong? The answer lies in the unique wiring of our brain. So, when we experience a significant life event, like let's say a graduation ceremony or a very difficult challenge, and a piece of music is playing, our body registers the two things simultaneously. So, the brain areas responsible for processing emotions, that is the amygdala, and the forming long term memories by the hippocampus, are right next to the auditory cortex. So, music essentially creates a super highway to these centers. So, crucially, emotional memories are the most robust and long lasting memories we have because music is so intrinsically linked to emotion. So those memories are sealed with us, within us. So the memory melody itself becomes a powerful retrieval cue. When you hear that song years later, it's not just recalling a fact, it's reactivating the whole neural network associated with that event. So this is why the feeling is so vivid and instant. When we say one song is equal to one story, we recognize that music acts as the soundtrack to our lives. Think of a chapter in your own life, the songs on your first mix CD, or the dominant genre during college, or the music played during a family holiday. Those songs organize the chaotic details of that time into simple emotional narrative. So, in therapeutic settings, like asking a client about their favorite song can instantly unlock a deep personal story. And it allows them to access a narrative of identity, resilience, or even pain without the struggle of starting from a blank state. So, music gives the story of a voice. So, finally, one song is equal to one emotion. This speaks to music's power as an emotional anchor. If a song was playing during a time of great comfort, hearing it again instantly floods your system with the feeling of being safe. If it was played during a time of heartbreak, it can immediately cue feelings of grief or longing. So this is particularly powerful in clinical settings where, like individuals with dementia, they experience where cognitive memory is severely degraded. The emotional memory stored with music remains remarkably intact. So a familiar song can bypass the damaged areas of the brain and bring forth genuine moments of joy, recognition, and connection, which was earlier lost. So music sustains the emotional self. Next, we'll be talking about the rhythm of the body. So, we uh, the most profound sound healing instrument in your life isn't a gong or a singing bowl. It's you. The truth is, your body already plays its own magnificent music, an internal symphony composed of continuous life affirming rhythms. Our body's rhythms are the foundation of our well being. So, today we'll focus on the two most fundamental natural instruments we possess, that is, our heartbeat and our breath. These rhythms are constantly telling the story of our current state, and they are often your most powerful tools for finding peace. So, let us start with the heartbeat. Your heart is your body's constant drummer, and the pace of that drum beat is directly communicating your current emotional state. If your heartbeat is fast, erratic, it signals that you are experiencing anxiety, stress, or excitement. Your body is in a state of high alert. Similarly, if your heartbeat is slow and steady, it signals that you are relaxed, you're feeling safe, and your body is in a rest and digest mode. So, the most exciting scientific concept here is heart rate coherence. So, this refers to a state where the rhythmic patterns of your heart are smooth and consistent. So, when your heart is in coherence, it sends signals to the brain that promote optimal function, clear thinking, and emotional regulation. So, simply pausing to listen to your own heartbeat, placing a hand over your own chest, is an instant grounding practice because it's an immediate check in with your body's authentic rhythm. Next, we have the breath, which serves as a natural metronome and our conscious controller. So, unlike your heartbeat, which is largely automatic, you have the ability to consciously change your breath. So, this ability is your secret power in regulating your internal music. The rhythm of your breath is directly linked to the vagus nerve, which is the core connection between your brain and your body. So when you take short, shallow breaths, you tell your vagus nerve that danger is near, reinforcing anxiety. But when you slow and deepen out your breath, making the exhale longer than the inhale, you send a definitive signal to your brain that I am safe. This action instantly calms the nervous system and creates a smooth, even rhythm that encourages your heartbeat to follow suit. So your breath is the one instrument you can always pick up to change the tone of your internal symphony. So when we bring the rhythm of the heartbeat and the rhythm of the breath into alignment, we achieve what we know as internal harmony. So if you intentionally slow your breath, your heart rate will follow suit through the concept called sympathetic resonance. So they begin to play the same calming tune. So this alignment is your body playing its own best music. So it's not about perfect pitch or it's about consistent rhythm. When you feel stressed, your internal music is fast and dissonant. But when you feel peaceful, your internal music is slow, steady, and flowing. So, the key to sound healing, therefore, is not just receiving external sounds, but using those sounds to help you reattune to the beautiful, balanced music you already possess inside. Next, we'll be discussing on the healing power of vibration. So far, we have focused on the music, the melodies, the rhythms, and the emotions. Now we are diving into the most fundamental physical aspect of sound, which is vibration. So, what is vibration? At the simplest level, it is movement. So, everything from a planet to a crystal ball to the air is in constant motion, generating energetic waves. So, sound is merely the perception of these waves through the air. So, the key distinction for healing is that we don't hear all sounds, some we feel. We can only hear sound between roughly 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But what about the sounds which are below 20 hertz? They are called the infrasounds. We cannot hear it, but we can feel it. So, this is where the profound healing power lies. Think of a huge speaker at a concert. You feel the bass rumbling in your chest. That's pure vibration. Let's get into the body. As we have discussed, every single tissue, organ, and cell in your body is vibrating at its own frequency. So, when you are well, all these frequencies are in harmony. But when you are ill, you are stressed, and maybe you are experiencing trauma, then you are experiencing dissonance, which is a blocked vibration or a chaotic vibration. This is where sound therapy, particularly instruments like singing bowls, tuning fork, they are used to bring back the healing. For example, the tuning fork. Imagine striking a C tuning fork and holding it near another tuning fork. We'll see that the second fork will begin to vibrate even though it was not struck. It is responding to its own native perfect frequency being introduced nearby. So vibrational sound acts the same way on your body. So the consistent pure tone of a crystal bowl encourages your cells, which might be vibrating out of sync, to snap back into their original vibrational frequency. And the body remembers its healthy state. So that is how we use sound healing to affect and bring healing to our body. So when a vibrating sound wave travels through you, it's not just a subtle energy. It is a physical force effectively giving you an internal cellular massage. Our bodies are composed of about 60% water. Sound travels almost 5 times faster through water than it does through air. So this means when a sound wave hits you, it moves through the water in your tissues, your organs, your bones with tremendous speed and power. And what it does is this deeply penetrative vibration helps to loosen constricted tension in your muscles, and it helps us remove the stagnant energy in your stored in your body. It also, the movement of the waves encourages blood and lymph flow, helping the body to clear toxins and deliver nutrients more efficiently. So, this felt physical experience is why we feel and describe an experience like a sound bath as feeling profoundly cleansing or relieving, as it is physically shaking out the tension at the cellular level. So, this physical power of vibration is harnessed most precisely in tools like tuning forks. Tuning forks are not just auditory instruments, they are vibrational tools. So, they can be placed directly on the body, on our joints, on our muscles, or on our acupressure points. And the vibration travels through the bone and deep into the tissue using the body's natural structure as a conductor. So, this allows for the precise application of healing frequencies to specific areas. And, it's an example of how we can use sound for our clinical healing as well. Next, silence as sound. So, we have explored the power of music, rhythm, and vibration, the sounds we receive and the sounds we make. Now, we turn to the most potent sound healing tool of all, which is silence. When you hear the sound word silence, what is the first thought that comes in your mind? Many people define it as an absence, uh, the lack of noise. But in the context of deep healing, we redefine silence. Silence is not absence, it is a presence. So it is a presence full of information, full of sensation, and full of subtle sound. It is a space where the external sound finally recedes, allowing the rich, constant symphony of your internal world to become audible. So, why is true silence so necessary today? Because we live in a state of chronic sensory overload. Our brains are constantly processing alarms, traffics, notifications, and chatter. Think of your auditory system as a guard dog. It is constantly listening, constantly filtering for threats, consuming enormous amount of mental energy. So when we intentionally seek silence, whether in nature during a sound bath, pause, or in focused meditation, we give that guard dog a rest. So this is a vital nervous system reset. When the external sounds disappear, your brain no longer has to focus on the environment. It shifts its attention, resources, and energy inward, allowing the parts of your brain that are responsible for repair, creativity, and self reflection to finally come online. So, silence is permission for the nervous system to truly relax and recalibrate. Once the external noise fades, we begin to hear what's within. Our internal soundscape reveals itself. What do you hear in true silence? You'll hear the constant quiet rush of blood, the gentle flutter of your heartbeat, the whirring of air as you breathe. For some, they may hear a high pitched ringing, often called tinnitus, which is the sound of internal electrical signals. Or you also may begin to hear the sound of your own thoughts, your emotional sounds. But the tone of your voice in your head, is it anxious? Is it calm? Is it critical? Silence allows you to observe your emotional state without distraction. So, silence is the ultimate diagnostic tool. It strips away the distractions and allows you to clearly perceive the current authentic state of your body, your heart, and your mind. We cannot truly heal what we cannot first hear. So, in the context of sound healing, silence is essential because it acts as an integrator. When you experience powerful musical meditation, the moments of silent in between the tones are crucial. They give your nervous system time to process and absorb the beneficial frequencies that were introduced. So the silence allows the vibration to settle and do its work. So imagine a painter. They don't just fill the canvas with color, they use the blank spaces to define the art. Silence is the blank space, the empty canvas that allows the new harmonious music we have created to truly resonate and define your well being. So, next, we'll be talking about the energy of intention. So, this is where we introduce the most powerful component, intention, which is the concentrated thought or feeling that you consciously direct toward an outcome. It is the fuel for the sound. Without it, sound is just noise. So, the core teaching here is simply what you feel, you transmit. So, what is it about? Emotions and thoughts are energy. And when you introduce them into sound, they become part of vibrational wave. So let's look at the first step. That is, sound carries emotion. Think about the difference between saying the words "I am fine" in a flat tone versus saying the same words with a high frantic pitch. The words are identical, but the note, the tone, it tells a different story. So emotion is powerful because it manifests as a vibration in the body. So when you are angry, your vocal cords tense, your voice takes on a sharper, lower frequency. And when you are joyful, your voice is looser and brighter. So when a sound healer plays a gong, their emotional state, calm, rushed, focused, is literally impressed upon the sound waves. So if the facilitator is genuinely focused on peace and healing, the sound they create carries that resonant energy directly into the listening space and into the recipient's nervous system. So emotion is the carrier wave for the healing frequency. Now let's link these two concepts, how emotion carries intention. So intention is the mental blueprint. Emotion is the energetic force that amplifies that blueprint. So imagine you are using a tuning fork. If your intention is simply, I want to hear a C note, that's one thing. But if your intention is, I will use this C note to gently clear tension from this person's left shoulder, and you focus on a feeling of a deep, compassionate care as you strike it, the healing potential changes dramatically. So, this is the mind body connection in action. So the focused emotional energy creates a more coherent, powerful wave. If your intention is clear for relaxation, for release of grief, for cellular repair, the feeling you generate becomes the instruction set that travels with the sound. This brings us back to our core principle: what you feel, you transmit. So, this applies to both the facilitator and to you. So, if you approach a sound healing session and even just a musical meditation with an intention of skepticism or a doubt or a resistance, your internal state of dissonance will be reflected. However, if your intention is focused, that is, you intend to be open to receiving peace, you are proactively tuning your own instrument. So you are consciously generating an emotional frequency of receptivity. So in this state of openness, the sound is no longer something happening to you, but something happening through you. So you become a co-creator of your own healing process. So the energy of intention is the crucial component that turns noise into medicine. It teaches us that sound carries emotion and emotion carries intention. So we have explored the incredible healing power of sound within us. Now let's focus on the power of collective resonance. So we are not just individuals, we are a temporary, powerful collective. So the energy we create together is exponentially more potent than the sum of its part. So think of a sports team that gets into a synchronized cheer. So the combined energy creates a profound, palpable force. In sound healing, this collective energy significantly amplifies healing. So, how does a collective vibration amplify healing? It works through the merging of individual energy fields. Imagine each of us is a small pond. When we are alone, the water is calm, but the effects of our own ripple stay within the small pond. When we gather in a room like this, our energy fields overlap and merge, creating a one large shared pool. So when 20 people set the exact same intention for peace, for clarity, for release, that singular intention is amplified 20-fold. This creates a focused, coherent wave of energy that is much stronger than and stable than any single person could generate. So that is why when we create music together, when we sing together, we feel more healed. So, if you are feeling particularly stressed, let's say, and struggling to relax, being surrounded by others who are calm and breathing deeply acts as a powerful external tuning mechanism. So, through this, the group's stable frequency encourages your nervous system to stabilize and relax much faster than you could do on your own. So essentially, the collective provides a stronger, more stable energetic field that allows individual healing to take place. So, how does a collective vibration amplify healing? It works through the merging of these intentions. So, we are effectively settling the collective calm. The sound of one person's calm breath might be subtle, but the sound of 20 people's calms will create a profound effect. All right, so we have okay, so now there's an ad break. So just like on YouTube, if it's free, there's an ad. So you can grab some popcorn or have a coffee and enjoy this presentation on the benefits of one-on-one counseling. So what is one-on-one counseling? It is a personalized confidential session that between a client and a trained therapist. It helps us gain insights into our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. It helps us address specific issues like anxiety, stress, or relationship problems. And it also help us work towards our personal and professional goals with the support of a counselor. So there's a misconception about counseling that it is only for those who are sick, but no, counseling is for anyone who wants to be their best version. So you can get counseling for having better relationships, having more friends, to work towards your academic success or your career advancement as well. So, why choose MindTribe Counseling? We are a team of experienced and skilled therapists. Our first session comes at the minimal fee of rupees 449, and our sessions range from rupees 800 to 2,400, depending on the seniority of the counselor. And once comfortable, you can also use budget friendly counseling packages. Um, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me after the session and I'll be sharing my details as well. All right, so let's continue with the session. So, this is where the principles of sound meet evidence based practice. So, music therapy in action. Therapists use sound to relax, release, and rewire. And even imagine music can heal. So, isn't just feel good music. It's a science dedicated to using sound and frequency to achieve specific non-musical goals. So the core of its success is how music acts as a powerful non-invasive tool to help us address major challenges like stress, pain management, and cognitive decline. So clinically, certain low rhythmic frequencies are intentionally used to trigger the vagus nerve that shift to a parasympathetic state. The studies have shown that consistent exposure to calm music significantly reduces the stress hormone cortisol in the bloodstream. So this is a direct biological intervention. So the music is literally changing your body chemistry to promote calmness. So this is how it reduces stress by reducing the cortisol levels in our bloodstream. Then music therapy also uses the gate control of pain. So think of your spinal cord as a gate to the brain. When pain signals travel through, the gate opens. So music, especially preferred music or music which you personally like, such musics have shown to flood the sensory pathways with pleasurable input. And this effectively closes the gate, diverting the brain's attention and reducing the perception of pain. So it acts as an analgesic without side effects. So this is why music is now a staple in everything from operating rooms to chronic pain clinics, as it is a proven pharmacological tool now. For one of the most fascinating, powerful aspects is the imagined music. So, when a musician merely thinks about playing a piece of music without moving a muscle, the brain scans show that their motor cortex and auditory cortex light up almost identically to when they are physically playing or listening. So, this principle is revolutionary for healing. So, for patients of stroke or injury, therapists use imagined music, like asking them to mentally play a music to stimulate the neural pathways that control movement. So, this mental practice helps maintain or rebuild muscle memory and encourages plasticity in our brain and helps us rewire ourselves. So, secondly, imagine music helps clients rehearse complex sequences and focus attention, reinforcing skills even when external input is not possible. So, the brain truly cannot distinguish between real or imagined sound, which means our capacity for healing is limited only by our ability to imagine the sound of health. Music therapy is not a single tool, it's a vast discipline applied across many populations. We have seen that drumming circles are used to provide non-verbal expression for trauma. Uh, Structured music has been seen to provide a predictable, non-threatening framework for children with autism. Even personalized playlists often provide comfort and reduce anxiety in palliative care. So, music therapy has shown its effect. through researches, and we all know it. We use different brain wave frequencies like alpha waves, which is a relaxed meditative state, which has the frequency of 8 to 12 hertz for calming our anxious mind. So we can use music with 8 to 12 hertz for relaxing ourselves. Then we can use 4 to 7 hertz frequency to for deep relaxation, activating the theta waves in our brain. Similarly, we can use other frequencies like 5 to 8 hertz, which is also known as the miracle tone, which has been found to be linked to DNA repair. And 639 hertz is used to enhance connection and relationship harmony. And similarly, many other frequencies have been found and are being used in therapy currently to bring healing to ourselves. So we all can, there is a visual quiz. You can see three images here, one of a drum, one of a wave, and one of a tuning fork. Which of these you think calms anxiety the fastest? So you can type in the chat box. Which of these you think can calm your anxiety the fastest? Sneha says waves. Nikita says wave, drum, waves. Calm your anxiety the fastest. All right. So now that we have explored the physics of sound, and now let's explore the philosophy and practice the bridge between sound and inner peace through mindfulness. So, what is mindfulness? It's simply paying attention on purpose to the present movement without judgment. So, how do we practice it in a world full of distraction? The easiest anchor for mindfulness is sound. Your ears are always on, constantly receiving data. So, by intentionally focusing on what your ears are hearing, you anchor yourself right here, right now. So, this brings us to a profound truth. So, listening equals healing. So, when we shift from passive hearing to actively listening, we engage in a powerful act of mindful listening. So, let's say we are in a concert, we are hearing live music. Um and similarly, we can talk about we are in a cafe and we can listen to many people talking, having conversations. The In case of the live music, we are trying to intentionally listen. But in case of a conversation in a cafe where we can hear different sounds and noises, we that is passive hearing. So, which among the two do you think actually, you know, helps bring healing, can help you bring healing? A live concert or a noise in a cafe? You can answer in the chat box. Which of the two things you can think can bring healing? Anyone? Right. Uh, Roshni says both. All right. So when we intentionally listen, let's say in a live concert, that will bring more healing to us, because that is that will bring more healing to us because we are at that time. Whereas when we are in a cafe listening to numerous sounds coming from here and there, we are not really focusing on that noise. So that is not going to bring healing to us in such a way. So why does listening equal healing? The present moment anchor. Our minds spend most of their time in the past or the future, worrying about something or the other. So, sound is only available in the present. You cannot hear a sound that has happened yet, and you cannot rehear a sound that has finished. So, by choosing to focus on the soft hum of the air conditioner, or the distant traffic, or the tones of a sound bowl, you force your mind into the now. So we have mentioned the vagus nerve, deep focus listening to calm, consistent sounds whether it's a singing bowl or a guided meditation, sends a direct signal of safety to our nervous system. And mindfulness requires listening without judgment. So when we don't categorize the sound as good or bad or annoying or pleasant, we simply notice the pitch, the decay, and the texture. This practice of non-reaction transfers to your thoughts and feelings, allowing you to observe them without judgment. So this non-focused listening has a direct revolutionary effect on your mental state. It helps us quiet the noise inside. So the noise inside isn't a sound you can hear with your ears. It's a constant racing, critical internal chatter, the source of most of our stress. So when you dedicate your attention entirely to the external sound, you give your mind a single focused job. The energy that was fueling the racing thoughts, the worry about the bills, the conflict at work is redirected to the sensory input. So it's like turning a wide angle lens into a powerful zoom lens. As the external noise becomes the focus, the internal noise naturally begins to fade. So you aren't forcing the thoughts away, you are simply diverting the attention that feeds them. So this creates mental space, the space between your stimulus and your reaction, where healing and peace can take place. So, when the external sound is gone and the internal noise has faded, what is left is internal silence. And in this silence, the healing truly begins. So, we all can silently hear something and be mindful. The role of silence in healing. So, between sounds lies peace, and pausing is music's medicines. So, the silence allows you to hear the subtle, quiet voice of your intuition, your body's wisdom, and your deepest self. It allows you to perceive the simple rhythm of your breath, your heartbeat. Also, it allows you to perceive the true feeling of a moment, not the thought about the feeling. So, in a world of healing, silence is not an empty space, it is a vital, active ingredient in our therapeutic process as well. So, it acts as the ultimate reset button for the mind and body. And why is it so crucial? Because healing is not just about what we put in, it's about what we allow to settle and what we allow to emerge when the noise stops. So perhaps the role of silence is as of a integrator. Think of sound healing like taking a powerful nutrient. You don't take a dozen vitamins all at once and expect them to work. No, you need time to digest, absorb, and assimilate. So similarly, silence provides a critical processing time to your nervous system, to your cells, and this is where the work is done by the sound actually solidify and becomes a lasting change. So our brain's primitive function is survival. It's constantly listening for danger. So when we enter a space of true silence, we dramatically reduce external sensory input. And the final intimate role of silence is of a mirror. When the external noise and the distractions are stripped away, silence forces us to into direct confrontation with our internal landscape. We are finally able to hear the music of our own internal dialogue. Is the voice critical? Is it anxious? Is it calm? So, silence makes these patterns undeniable and it helps us explore our emotions. So, we can finally hear the subtle, quiet voice of our intuition. So, we all can practice pause for 20 seconds now at the count of four. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. So we have explored how music acts upon us, but now let's flip the script. We are not just passive listeners. We are active creators of every piece of music we hear. So the healing power of expressive creativity lies in this truth. So we don't listen to music, we create it inside. So when sound waves hit your ear, they are just vibrations. Your brain then takes those vibrations and translates them into adding memory, emotion, and personal narrative. You are the conductor, the composer, and the entire orchestra of your experience. So your internal music is unique to you. This creative act is deeply therapeutic because expression transforms energy. It takes the messy, chaotic energy of an unexpressed emotion and converts it into a structured, communicative form. So your brain anticipates the rhythm and the next tone, and the music is interpreted by your body. So every time you listen, you are engaging in an active, complex act of creation, making the music personal, vivid, and deeply integrated into your being. Now, for the transformation, how expression transforms energy. When we feel strong emotions like grief, anger, intense frustration, that energy can become trapped in our body. So, through expressive creativity, we can channel this energy to move. Simply using your voice to sustain sound is direct physical release. Humming, people chant. What does that actually do? It helps us express our internal stagnant energy into various forms. People using drumming, like hitting a rhythm or moving your body to music, takes chaotic emotional energy and converts it into a structure and rhythm. So the energy is not destroyed, it is transformed from a painful internal pressure into an external non-verbal form of communication. So expressive creativity allows us to speak the language of the soul, the feelings that words fail to capture. So often the most therapeutic things we need to express have no easy words. So a child cannot articulate their anxiety, but they can pound it on a keyboard. Adult struggling with trauma can't explain their grief, but they can channel it into a song and express themselves. Creativity gives these unspoken feelings a voice. So here's a little activity, like you can draw or you can imagine drawing uh, your inner song. Like you can draw it in a shape of a flower, a circle, a line, or anything that expresses your current emotional tune. S- So each of us carries a melody worth hearing. When shared, healing multiplies. So this leads us back to the concept of collective resonance. When shared, healing multiplies. So amplification of intention, when one person sets an intention for courage, is strong. When they share their intention within the group, that amplifies. So now I would ask you all to share a image or a word from your drawing or your what you can just let me know about a image or a word you are drawing that expresses your internal emotional tune. It can be a flower, it can be a smiley, it can be anything that represents your. You can type it in the chat box or you can unmute and say. All right, I see comments from books. Shweta says books. All right. Vuela says ocean view. Right. Akshay says trees. All right. So this shared experience requires that we listen deeply, and we it also facilitates collective healing. So when we share our music through our emotional tones, when we engage in group singing, group drumming, when we create music by our own voice, when we use our own heartbeat and breathing to bring inner harmony, that is how we bring healing to ourselves. So this is the last slide of the workshop. So everyday sound hygiene. Not all sound heals choose what you tune into, and protect your peace like your playlist. So every day you are bombarded with sound, traffic, alerts. Everyday sound healing is about shifting passive hearing to conscious, intentional healing. We must keep in mind of different things like active selection. When you get into the car, do you turn on music that elevates your mood, or do you leave the news on and potentially spiking your cortisol? Where it's about setting boundaries. Protecting your peace means setting sound boundary. This might mean turning off notification, using noise cancelling headphones in offices, or intentionally sitting in a quiet spot for 5 minutes a day. You have the power to mute the noise that diminishes you and amplify the sounds that sustain you. So your environment doesn't control your peace, you do. Now, let's address the critical point like individual differences. What works for you may not work for your neighbor. For some, nature sounds are calming. For some, the unstructured sound is distracting. We all process different sound differently. Some people are highly sound sensitive and require very little input to feel overwhelmed, whereas we all for some it may not be so. Most importantly, a sound can be linked to a traumatic memory. For some, for that individual, that sound is a trigger for stress, not healing. So we have to keep in mind what type of sound we are allowing into our system. The rule is, if a sound doesn't bring you peace, change the channel. Never force yourself to listen to that sound that creates discomfort. So research is on that hormonal cycles in women can affect overall emotional regulation, potentially making sound stimuli feel more intense at certain times. So it can differ gender to gender. Some For some women, it may retain high frequency hearing longer than men. So the therapeutic takeaway is that we must practice self-compassion and recognize that our receptivity to sound is not static. So it changes based on our internal state, hormones, and yeah, so not all sound heals. You must be an active curator and protect your piece like your playlist. Honor your individual differences and always choose sound that resonate with your current state of being. Your everyday piece is your most powerful sound healing tool. So as we conclude today's workshop, you all can do a little activity, write one healing sound and one noise to reduce from your daily life, and actively work on it with a consciously chosen healing sound for you. And before we end the session, I'll be a few important things to note about MindTribe counseling offers. So our motto encapsulates empowering minds and transforming lives. We provide counseling services at a competitive rate of rupees 1200 per 45-minute session. We have devised various packages as a token of our appreciation for your participation. We are delighted to offer 3 fortunate individuals the opportunity for a complimentary consultation. These details will be communicated through the workshop's WhatsApp group in the coming days. And also, Dr. Prerna Kohli, who is the esteemed founder of MindTribe, we provide affordable counseling, free group therapies, and rich mental health resources. If you have any questions, you can also email us at hello@mindtribe and contact us on the WhatsApp number given in the slide. So we are dedicated to nurturing mental health and well-being with a focus on accessibility and excellence. Thank you so much for hearing to me patiently. That brings us to the end of the session. Thank you all for joining.